Hi, good afternoon, welcome back. So, social media ban has been announced, and today I want to take a look at the more sinister side of the social media ban. So, we're going to start with how the social media ban will affect you and me, and obviously the kids themselves. Well, first things first, under 16s cannot be verified by under 16s. You will have to prove you're over 16 to use social media, which is where the problem lies. So there's a segregated category of 16 to 17 year olds who will be able to still use YouTube and stuff like that, but they will have a curfew imposed. They'll still be under the watchful eye and loving guidance of your government authority, so that's good to know. And for us audience, that's going to be a face verification for apps, identification photographs like your passport, your driver's license, and I've even seen some cases where it's asked for a bank card or something like that there. And that's to use the internet. Now, I know it's only a social media ban, but go find me the first most 15 used websites in the world, or 15 or 20 used websites in the world, and I guarantee about 10 or 15 of them are all under social media guidance or guidelines. So then you have a situation, your Facebook's linked to your YouTube and Twitter and TikTok, and they're all linked together. There's no making a new profile and get around it, because if you get banned or removed from social media, then your identification is linked to it. So you can't just make another profile, so you're completely locked out of whatever social media platform you're using. And then on top of that, what if they all join databases? Then you have a situation where something bad on Facebook might get you restricted, or no access to your other apps like, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, so whatever one you're using. Since your digital profile is under restriction from one site, they may all do this. We've already seen a similar thing happen without it all being linked through a digital process, where people have been cancelled and effectively banned from the internet by media companies. Andrew Tate comes to mind, and there was, if you know, Sargon of Akkad, I think his name is. He does podcast of the Lotus Eaters now. I think they even went as far to seize his bank details and shut down his bank account. So you can no longer take a wage or be paid for appearances or anything like that there. That's how it would obviously affect them. But it's like, if you're going to work and you can't access a bank account, you can't get paid, and that's simply how that is. And that's just one step away from the media ban including bank details itself. If they all joined databases, then you have a situation where you're literally in a credit system, a social credit system. And what if one day the bank just said, oh, your account's restricted because of your social media or whatever, said you can't get that 500 quid withdrawal for your weekend away. And most of the thing is, up until now, everybody would always go, oh, that would never happen, that would never happen. So I know most of you say that would never happen. We've already seen glimpses of it. If you go to the bank now and try and get a large sum of money out of your own money, it's most likely to 100% you're going to be asked to book an appointment, because they wouldn't have the amount at the branch because they're already dealing in digital fucking currency. And furthermore to that, you'll be interrogated before they actually give you it back. They want to know why you want your money back from them. It's wild. This is happening now. So shut the fuck up, Janet. Just give me money. So that's the way it could affect adults, but that isn't even what I'd consider the most sinister part of the digital ID, social media ban. You see, every kid growing up will be growing up under the conditions of regulated internet time. Now, I've heard of that before, but luckily for me and you, it's only ever good countries that do that, with great reputations when it comes to population control, people management, and human rights atrocities, fucking human right awareness, like China and North Korea. So, of course, fuck all to worry about there. Please, these places are very aware of your rights. They just say fuck them. So, that's a good omen at least. So, they'll be told when they can use the internet, for how long, and what sites they can go on to. Now, that's fucking crazy to think about. That the exact same government in 2026 introduced the right to vote for 16-year-olds. That's not a bad move. People have a say in how their country is run. Fair. Just a couple of issues with that would be, first, and probably least serious, is studies show that young people tend to be more liberal and often don't start to slide to the right until life shagged them a little bit and they're able to see through every decision the government makes is nothing but a continuation of their own agendas. So young kids who go through the school system always tend to be more liberal, and it tends to be when they leave school and they get a wee bit of see what life's like, paying bills and stuff like that there, and see how being fair to everybody through the government's lenses isn't fair to you having to get up and grind through life. And secondly, more seriously, with the introduction of social media, they've at the same time says we believe young people should get to vote, but we don't think young people are mature enough to handle the social media and the potential thoughts of other people in society. They've been given opportunity to implement change in. So if you can't handle someone's views on social media, then I don't think you're equipped to be saying how society should be run if you can't even handle someone else's opinion. Now, 17, you can join the military, have a kid, vote, get married. Under no circumstances will you go on Facebook and corrupt your liberal brain with far right shenanigans. So, why do you assume liberal minds? Because this is where you start to see when what they're doing. Sorry, and will a young 16-year-old be informed enough to vote? And the thing is, with the social media ban, they'll only be able to watch legacy media, a trusted source by the people who always give their fair and balanced and impartial opinion on each topic. That's not my words, that's the words of somebody the BBC had on, letting you know just how brilliant the BBC were. Great. I'll give you a few wee things off the top of my head just recently there, about how trusted this legacy media is. Now, whether or not you like or don't like Trump, the BBC edited a Trump speech in 2025. It took an hour-long interview and compressed it down into almost a sentence, basically, where they portrayed him to say "fight like hell," and that's not what it said. It's not major. It just shows fair and non-biased, impartial professionalism that the BBC has. Another one recently as well that the BBC had been involved in is the Tommy Robinson thing. Again, don't care if you like the person, I'm not fussed either way. Just, if they're so bad, why did the BBC have to do so much work to set someone up? This is a story where they were advancing a panorama documentary on Tommy Robinson, and they got one of his ex-employees to try and infer that Tommy Robinson had made advances on her, and when she'd said no, if carried on with the advances, it's basically trying to stir up a sex scandal regarding Tommy Robinson. But when you actually look at that, that's a rape allegation. So what they tried to do is stir up a false rape allegation against Tommy Robinson. Again, it's not the case of whether or not you like Tommy or not. It's, if he is so bad, why do they need to do things like that there? I feel as if I'm forgetting one from the BBC clamped with. Oh fuck, it's in the tip of my tongue. I just can't remember the guy's name. He wasn't really well known. Like, I don't think most people would actually even realise the guy. Fuck, I can't think. I don't think a lot of people would even realise this guy is like ever at the BBC. It's probably, I would say to you, if you know, as the BBC's fucking press officer, Jimmy Savile, only the biggest case to ever hit British media, probably ever, by sensationalism. Probably Princess Diana's accident was more, but in terms of how deep these fucking actions go, how far they spread and who they involve and engulf in their sheer magnitude, this operation, I could go on, I'll make a own video on its own, and I might just do that, to be honest. But Jimmy Savile is Britain's Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, fuck's sake, Epstein's the fixer for all the elites, but Jim will fix it. It just never sunk in. It's not just a BBC slogan. They all knew and they hid it. So that's the fair, impartial, media that your kids can rely on safely. ITV is another option. They recently have Phil Schofield thing where it's that they knew and understood that he was messaging and speaking to a young guy, and if I'm not mistaken, he actually went on for years to the point where they actually had him come to the ITV studio several times for visits, and the ITV covered that up once it came out that it was going to be, outed. ITV covered that up. So that's ITV, the organisation. They must have had prior knowledge to this young man coming to their fucking studios in and out there 3 or 4 times through a 5-year, period. And again, ITV's not your thing. What about Sky News? They're even Sky News the other week, they were literally standing beside protesters in Northern Ireland, and woman was shouting over the top of the reporter because he was standing talking sheer bollocks and wouldn't mention the exact reason why they were doing what they were doing. They've also posted plenty of wartime videos, crouching for dear life and giving performance of a lifetime, where some woman's casually walking a dog, and so you can find plenty in them. Some wee dog taking a piss and they're, rolling about, screaming into a mic, like literally, like you can see just someone dander along into the camera. So it's an art. So that's the legacy media your children will be safe with. They hid the COVID findings from people. They told them to go get the jab, and they're hiding information from your children, and they're telling them to go vote. It's the same thing. It's like they pushed through a fast vaccine where nobody had information on anything, and they made people go and get a jab, and they're taking away information whilst telling people to go vote. They're taking away the informed decision of anybody to do anything for themselves. Have a good day. So that engineers, when I'm saying like, engineering a society, it's that you're going to have a whole generation there that doesn't know Labour lied us into two wars, because where would they get at request documentaries if not on YouTube? Tories took over after that and were so fucking incompetent they probably couldn't have lied us into two wars if they tried to. But legacy media with its severe left-leaning bias, and we all know they don't report on the news accurately, and they will fake reports and adjust them just to fit their narrative. So for me, that's a far more sinister side of the digital ID and the under 16 social media ban. And you pair that with the fact that just now people can be arrested for sharing opinions and views online. It always seems to be moderate right-wing stances that get sensationalized, and people they've been given years for social media posts. It's scary. They're stripping the political conversation away from anyone who doesn't want what they want, and that's what it is. So if you're not championing pro-government, policies, if you've got anything that doesn't, any policies that doesn't involve control and being able to encroach in every facet of your life, they don't want your views to be given online. They don't want anybody to know that opinion and why it'd be valuable information for someone else to have. Like, imagine a world where by like 17 years old and 363 days old, so that you haven't been able to fully find out what a prick Tony Blair was. Oh, and by the way, so if you're not aware, it's that Tony Blair has more power in the UK today than Keir Starmer does. So if you know, you know. Keir Starmer's saying kids are wasting their life. Fucking bring back parenting. Good old parenting. Put the TV off, put the tablet down, no more screen time. But that's the bottom line. You're a fucking bad parent, and the government need to do it for you. That's what they're telling you. You can't tell your kid to put something down. You can't discipline your own kid. You can't choose what they watch or do. They're breeding a volatile society where all kids will grow up indisciplined and very liberal. That isn't a social media ban. That's a counter movement to implement a social political engineering response to what's been called the start of a revolution, and millions have started to take notice of their antics, motives, and agendas. And the media ban, or the social media ban, is nothing but a response to the information that you can now get online. So that's my thoughts on the darker side of the social media ban. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about it? Is there anything else, any sinister tales that I've maybe just overlooked that you could think of? Let me know in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you.